All right, now it's time for our keynote speaker of the evening. His family name has become synonymous with boxing in the Tampa Bay area. His dad, Phil Sr., built Alessi Promotions into a powerhouse in the 1980s. And he has now helped to carry on the success of the family name over the last few decades. As you will hear, he had a unique access and perspective being his dad's son. He is a pillar of the business community here in the Bay Area. He is a longtime sponsor of the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame. Of course, you're familiar with that amazing cake that we always have on Sunday after the induction. We got another one coming tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome last year's Florida Boxing Hall of Fame Boxing Achievement Award winner. A warm welcome for Mr. Phil Alessi Jr.
So when I got the call, I was like, "Are you sure you got the right person?" It's like, I'm not much of a talker, but the more I thought about it, I realized that I basically need to talk about the things that I've learned all of my life, which is part of the message tonight. And those are some of the attributes that I've learned from my father, Phil Alessi Sr. It's my opportunity to share a message of purpose. Before I get started, I would like to personally thank Butch and Kathy Flansburgh. If it wasn't for your passion and desire, we wouldn't be here tonight. You guys have done an amazing job and couldn't have passed the torch over to, Mr. Canton, as far as, I'm sure taking it to the next level. But you guys are very, very special, and I just want to, like I said, personally thank y'all. But you're a special guy. As well as you are too, Kathy. Butch, by the way, I know you're retired now, but they found somebody else to pick on with the speeches, so I appreciate that. Thanks. For starters, all my life, 3 words have been instilled in me by my dad. Integrity, honesty, and passion. It's become a way of life for me. My dad inspired me in many ways. One story I would like to share is when I opened my restaurant years ago, my dad wrote me a note. Actually, Linda, you wrote it, he dictated it. Which I will have to say, Linda, if it wasn't for you, my dad wouldn't have been where he was. So you're a very special woman, and he always called you his guardian angel, and that's very special because it's very, very true, because you were his special angel. So on that note he wrote me, or Linda wrote, but from his words, he said, persistence and determination equals success. Last night was an example of your persistence and determination. Congratulations. Keep up the good work. I'm very proud of you, Dad. My dad always said, Phil, work hard and have passion while you're doing so. Do it with integrity, and you will never go wrong. I would like to share a video of my dad that will strengthen what I'm saying tonight.
Well, years ago, I just liked fighting. I went to fights with my dad, with Rocky Marciano in a closed circuit, and I really then got a first love for the fighting business. At that point, I wanted to get involved with it, so I went and checked out some of the finer players in the country. And I found out it was right here in Tampa, which was Lou Viscusi. So he was my mentor to start off with. And one thing led to another, and that's where it started. Promoted with him for years, then eventually I got involved with it again by myself. We started attracting people from all over the country. The bottom line was we attracted NBC, and of course, with Ferdy Pacheco, gave us a lot of opportunities. And we've been in it ever since. With USA, we did a lot of business with them. And, just continue to be my first love after the bakery business? Well, we've been away from boxing for about 20 years. And Phil, my son, knew that I loved boxing. So we talked about one day about, maybe putting together a gym. So I said, well, let's do that. So once we put the gym together, he said, well, we might as well start getting back into the boxing business. That's what got me excited. He knew I loved boxing. Bottom line is, we got Phil Jr., and we got a heck of a team. And then we got myself. I think we bring a tremendous plus to the boxing business. We bring a lot to the table, and that's exciting to me. And because of that, I think we're going to attract fighters from all over the world. Fighters that believe in what we believe in. Number one, they got to be able to fight. Number two, outside the ring, they got to have character, respect, integrity, and appreciation for what we bring to the table. And again, these kids, the only way that we're going to bring them on board and sign them up are the people that fit our criteria, what we believe in. We will not compromise our philosophy and our attitude about developing champions of the world. That's our goal, developing champions of the world. And we're very adamant about it. We got a fantastic team on board, and I believe we're going to accomplish a lot in that area.
This is part of what I live by every day. My dad was a very special man. He did business with a handshake and his word. Something I can admire and use for the rest of my life. I feel very fortunate. Met many special and unique people. The unique people I refer to, as my dad would say, as those cast of characters. In the boxing world, my dad would say, they're a special breed of their own. To share some personal memories about some of those special people, I would like to share that with you. I remember when I was probably 16, 17 years old, shadow boxing with Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, in front of the Hyatt downtown when he came and visited my father's farmer's market. They were dear friends, and Muhammad Ali basically did what he always does, and that's help people. So he was gracious enough to come a couple times to Tampa, Florida, to help my dad promote his new concept. Met Sugar Ray Leonard. I was part of the training camp over at the Safety Harbor Spa. Being at meetings with Ferdy Pacheco when my dad was making TV deals, when he was making the TV deals, many visits with Mr. George Steinbrenner, Angelo Dundee, and many more. I mention these things not to brag. I mention them because these are so special to me and dear to me. And at the end of the day, that doesn't happen by accident. There's a reason for it. So please wait for it. That moment will come later with my message of purpose. I would like to share a few stories that really have stuck with me throughout my life that not too many people know about. But I think it's appropriate now to tell those stories. My dad used to have the rights for the whole state of Florida for the closed circuit boxing that was granted to him by Mr. Don King. He used to do all of the for those of you who don't know what closed circuit was, some of you younger people, this is basically what's pay-per-view today. He had all those rights, which was pretty cool. So my dad and Mickey Duff were partners in promoting John the Beast Mugabe, among other fighters also. So Mickey Duff and my dad decided to partner up on the Tyson and Spinks fight, closed circuit fight. So I'm going to tell you in my dad's words pretty much how he said it with his story. So Mickey and I, this is my dad speaking, Mickey and I placed a bet for the fight not to go past the first round. The bet payout was a very large sum of money. So we were at the venue, sellout crowd. You could have cut it with the excitement with a knife. The fight starts, and you know what happens next. Tyson takes out Spinks in 91 seconds. The crowd went crazy. People wanting their money back. It was just total chaos. I looked over at Mickey. He looked over at me. And we had the biggest grins on our faces because we just won $1 million. Another story that just really, really dear to me. And this gentleman's here tonight. He's a special and dear friend of our family, Mr. John Paglia. I remember him telling me the story of how him and my dad met. Mr. Paglia wanted to get into the boxing business. So he was, asking around, trying to do this research, trying to find out, how do I do this? And he ran into a gentleman. He said, man, I'm trying to get into boxing. Can you help me out? He said, this gentleman told him, if you want to get in the boxing business, you need to speak to Phil Alessi Sr., Phil Alessi. So, of course, Mr. Paglia reaches out to my dad. They meet. They hit it off. They basically become dear, dear friends and business partners. Of course, Mr. Paglia was always looking for that heavyweight contender. To this day, he every so often calls me, Phil, come on, we got to get a heavyweight. But the thing was so special that I appreciate, and what this man has brought to the table to my family and to our friendship, is the story when he tells me, he says, Phil Jr., when people came to me about boxing and wanted me to get involved, what I would tell them is I don't make a move without Phil Alessi. I don't do anything in boxing without him. Mr. Paglia, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being a true friend to my family and my father. Again, these things don't happen by accident. There's a purpose to this message. I can be here all night talking about what boxing has done and the people it has brought into my life. This gentleman couldn't make it tonight because he's not driving any longer, but he's got a place in my heart. Henry Grooms. And I wrote it like I'm talking to Henry, but Henry has been in my life since I was 10 years old. Henry gave me my first catcher's mitt. My dad basically brought in Henry, met with him a dozen times before we finally convinced him to come to Tampa from Kalamazoo, Michigan, to be a Alessi Promotions head trainer. 43 years later, Mr. Grooms is a successful businessman and a promoter. I want to mention Mr. Yared. Obviously, he had to make the hockey game, but this is another gentleman who is a very, very close friend of the family. He's always welcomed my family into his home, including us in all his special events. Mr. Yared, I know you're not here now, but you're a very special friend that my dad and I love and respect. At a young age, I would always tag along with my dad. I was very fortunate for him to let me be part of his dealings. Jay, it makes me so happy and proud to know that you got to share those same special things that I did with the next generation. So I wanted you to know that. And I know it's something that you and I can both relate to, because it's something that was very, very special with the people we met, hanging around with our dad, watching him in action. Love you too, brother. I would like to thank a couple of promoters out there in our community that I feel has done a heck of a job for our sport of boxing. First one is Tito, with T&K. This guy is so persistent. I mean, he would call me off the hook, and sometimes I feel so guilty about not getting back to him. But this guy is just relentless. But Tito, man, you've got it, man. For being in the business for the short period of time that you've been in, you got it, man. Just keep it up. Just keep it up. The other guy, as you all know, is Mr. Ivan Echeverria. Ivan, Pier 6 Promotions. What can I say about a guy whose tagline on his card is legally hustling? Ivan, you're one of those guys that's part of that cast of characters that my dad would always speak of. Is Ivan here? I want him to hear this. In all seriousness, Ivan, I want to let you know from me that I'm very proud of you. You have shown, even though you're somewhat of a pain in the behind at some times, you have shown the passion that I refer to for the sport of boxing. Keep it up, Ivan. You're on the right track. Proud of you, man. Guys, if you ever listen to anything that I've said, please listen to this. Do it for the love of the sport, through passion and through integrity. The many rewards will come. Trust me. The money will come. The rewards will come. Keep doing what you're doing. Passion and integrity. I can't say it enough. Bob Alexander, thank you for all your support and guidance over the years. Without a doubt, you're always there for everybody, and I really appreciate you. I want to thank also a special person here, Sandra Bragg. Sandra, we wouldn't be able to get through this without you. So I really appreciate you. I want to thank my family, my wife Amanda, who's always there for me, no matter what. My 3 boys, Aiden, Pearson, and Philip, who's not here tonight, Philip III, and my little, wow, yeah, and my little princess, Lilipop, Aaliyah. My very special friends that have joined me tonight. New friends, old friends, I really appreciate it, because when I befriend somebody, it's true friendship. 2 of them couldn't make it tonight, but I'll forgive them. I'll give them heck next time. But I really appreciate you guys. In closing, I would like to share what my message really is. It's when you can humble yourself, be committed to what you do, and love it, whether it be family, the Lord, running a bakery business, or boxing promotion. Do it with integrity, passion and integrity. I'm a fanatic about integrity. It's just, and I'm not Mr. Goody Two Shoes by all means, but it's a way of life for me. There's one more person I want to mention that I know is here tonight from what I hear, and it's Pete Fernandez. Pete Fernandez, I love you, man. So part of my closing, the last part of it, which I'm hoping my speech was long enough, Bob, is my reward is the fulfillment I get from doing it with passion and doing it with integrity and seeing the outcome of those fruits. This is why I do what I do. Can't say it enough. Passion and integrity. That is a true formula for success. I want to thank everybody very much for having me, and congratulations to the 2021 Boxing Hall of Fame.